You can be networking at the baseball field, at the,
Mm.
mommy and me classes, at the gym, and literally anywhere you go out. Like shout from the rooftops what it is you do or what it
Mm.
is you're building.
Hello, and welcome to the Twin Mom Life Podcast. I'm your host, Jess. I created this podcast to help build community, connection, and most importantly, friendships among moms of multiples. Being a twin mom can be amazing and magical. That twin bond is unlike anything I've ever witnessed. But it can also be isolating and overwhelming. I'll be chatting with other twin moms, diving deep into the twin experience, giving advice on what works for us so you don't have to learn the hard way. Juggling two babies at the same time is challenging, but I'm confident we can learn from each other and figure out how to raise these babies together. Welcome to the podcast. So today we have Kanika. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you, Jess. It's an honor to be on the show with you today.
Yes, I'm so excited. So you are a former CNN international broadcaster and a mom of
Mm-hmm.
three, including twins, and the host of an award-winning podcast. That's Total Mom Sense, which is the cutest name ever.
Thank
So
you.
what am I missing? Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yes. No, you did a wonderful recap. I have just always been this journalist at heart. I love talking. I have the gift of the gab, and I love connecting with people. And that's something that's just kind of been a mainstay in my life since childhood. And as an Indian American, I'm very tied to my cultural upbringing and roots. I am a trained Kuchipudi dancer. It's a
Cool.
form of Indian classical dance from 2000 years ago. And my
Wow.
daughter is following in my footsteps. And I'm
Mm.
also a trained vocalist in Hindustani vocals, and I'm fluent in Hindi and Punjabi.
Wow, that's amazing. I would love
Thank
like I
you.
want to check out these dances and the songs and vocals. That sounds so cool.
Yes, I'll send you some clips after this on WhatsApp.
Yes. Well, and I think that's such a good point. I love that. I have to point this out. I feel like a lot of times when I say, "Can you tell me about yourself?" people talk about their kids. And that is a part
Yeah,
of us, but it's also so
absolutely.
important to have something for yourself and hobbies. And that's something I'm personally trying to get into. Like I just joined a book club and I've been playing mahjong, which
Nice.
is super fun. So it's nice to have these hobbies outside of my kids and motherhood.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that, I have only kind of given myself permission to have my own interests and hobbies at this phase of my life. My twins, they're a boy and a girl. They're 9 and my younger son is turning 8. And so it took time. I think after they turned 5, I was like, okay, I got to get me back. And
Yes.
resources like Eve Rodsky's Find Your Unicorn Space. Eve is
Mm.
a dear friend, and she wrote Fair Play, but Find Your Unicorn Space is all about finding that, je ne sais quoi that lights you up. And, for her, it was like hip hop. And that's what she did as a teen. So why can't she do that in her 40s,
That
and
is
find
so
what that
fun.
is and do it. Yes. Just so you have that as part of your identity and your kids see it too.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's so true. So I try to go to yoga once a week. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But my kids always know, like typically it's on Thursdays. Oh, mom's going
Mhm.
to yoga. I'm not going to do bed and bath time. And I think it's good for them to learn that I get time too to take care of myself. And it just makes me a better mom.
Absolutely. I love that for you.
And that leads me to my next question. I always try to start the podcast with this. Have you done anything to fill your cup today, or do you have plans to do so?
Yes, it's something so simple, so, so simple, but getting ready for the show.
Mm.
I feel like there are days where I have a top knot and I haven't had a chance to shower and I'm going to Costco and I feel like a hot mess. But on the days that I take a longer shower, you know, straighten my hair, put on some makeup, I feel even more human. And
Mm,
just that filled my cup, I think, as I am at pickup and I have some doctor's appointments with the kids today, I'm going to be in a different mood because I was camera ready in the morning.
mhm. That always makes me feel more put together and confident. So, I
Yes,
I
yes.
feel that, and you look so beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You too. I love your
Thank
sundress.
you. So today for me, we just got back from cousin camp. All of my husband's family lives in another state. So we
Mhm.
visited. That was cup filling to see my kids play with their cousin and to visit family, but it was a lot. We had
Oh,
a packed trip. It was like Legoland and the beach and visiting friends and family. So it was fun, but exhausting. And today I just
yes.
felt like puffy, so I did my jade roller and little eye mask. So it was just something little. Like I
Right.
wish I could have gotten a facial, but I mean, just
Yeah,
something
yeah.
little. And it felt so good and so relaxing. So same, it just was like a little self care that was so nice to start my day. So
Yes, I'm with you on that. We need to find those pockets of time because, some days you will have the time for the full facial, but most days you won't.
mhm. Yes. And I feel like that's been the biggest thing I've learned from asking moms this question is it does not need to be this extravagant spa day. It can be something as
Right.
little as waking up 10 minutes early to have your coffee with in peace
Yes,
or like going
exactly.
on a solo walk. It doesn't have to be, I mean, spa days are great too, but
Right.
that's something that doesn't happen as often. So, yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
I
you
love
have to
that.
just take what you can and I always say create a good day, not have a good
Yeah.
day, create one.
I love that. It's all about mindset. So, we were chatting earlier about how a lot of moms are really wanting to understand and figure out how to balance building a career and motherhood. And I feel like you are the
Mm.
most perfect person to ask. So I would love
Oh.
to know. I mean, I'm just so impressed by your career and all that you've built. And we should mention this. We met at the Mom 2.0 conference, and I was so impressed by you. You were the one who was interviewing Jenny Garth, and it was such a good interview, like a mix of laughing, and I think I was crying towards the end. It just was
Yeah.
so good. You are such a good moderator, and it was so real and raw. And I feel like you did a great job of making it funny, but also like getting to the meat. And it was so good. It was absolutely fantastic. So after that, I'm like, I have to meet her. And then I found out you were a twin mom. And I
Twin
was like,
mom, I know.
there were so many twin moms at that conference. I was blown away.
Yes, yes. I think that connection just takes it to the next level because we get each other. I
Hmm.
see you, I get you. And your experience, which is so, so unique. But yeah, no, Mom Too has been just a wonderful community to be a part of. I serve as their official podcast partner. So I'm kind of buzzing around doing my own podcasts and moderating from the stage. And then I get to meet all the attendees and the fellow speakers and, women like you. And that's another cup filler for sure.
Mm,
I love making these friendships that are lifelong after that. And it's very few conferences and like summits that can give you that at the end. This is you get to go deep right away.
hmm
And I'm glad you were at the session with Jenny. It was such a heartfelt chat. Like I had met her before at Reese Witherspoon's Shine Away, and I interviewed her with Jen Hatmaker. And so this time around, I was like, "Oh, we're friends." You know? It was just cool to be like, we know each other. We have some inside jokes now,
Yes.
and so then I got to go there with her and talk about who she was as an individual and a mom of 3 daughters. And I think that, her whole mantra around "I choose me," which is her
Mm,
movement and her book and her podcast and her clothing line even. all of that is just a testament to what we should be doing as moms because she was like kind of a puppet, when she was in her acting career, whether it was the directors or, we need you in wardrobe and hair and makeup right now. The puppeteers were saying, we need you here, we need you there, or your kids need you, or, her dad was sick for a long time, taking care of an ailing parent. Like,
Mm.
you're needed by so many different people in your life, and then this was, like, her real and raw saying, like, "This is me. This is what I have created for myself," and, her book really helped, illustrate how we can do it.
Yeah. Well, it was an absolutely great interview, and I think everyone left that conference and that talk specifically just feeling really motivated and
Yeah.
moved, and I will tell you, that was the first time I've been to that conference ever, and it just so
Okay.
happened to be
Yeah.
in my
Awesome.
hometown. I'm from Austin,
Yes.
and so that was perfect. I was intimidated to go, to be quite honest with you. I'm newer in the podcast scene, and I am not like this crazy big influencer. I have a very small following. So I was a little bit
Mhm.
intimidated, and I was blown away by how welcoming and encouraging everyone was. I
Oh.
it was just the best experience, and I'm so glad that I went because it really, I mean, I think it's really been life-changing, and all the women that I met has been really exciting, and yeah, it's great.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, once you're
Mhm.
in, then you're in it for life, and we've all got
Yeah,
you.
I'm excited to go to the next one in Viva Las
Mhm.
Vegas.
I know, I know. This is gonna be very different. I've
Yes.
been to, like, 4 in the past, and, like, this is really stirring things up. I'm excited to see. We have to make it to the sessions, guys. That's
Yes.
that's the main thing.
That's so
Let's
funny.
wake up and get there and not be, sleeping in.
Oh, that's so good. So, I would love to hear any tips that you have for moms who are trying to balance a career or maybe trying to start one in motherhood. I have changed careers so many times, and I have my master's, which I'm not using because it was
Mm,
such a crazy time commitment job, and it's not what I wanted in motherhood. So, I wanted to find something and it gave me more flexibility. And just like how you were saying, I love connecting deeply. And once I had
yeah.
twins, the isolation I felt, I was like, I need other twin mom friends immediately. And that was a
Yeah.
big catalyst to this podcast. And yeah, I would love to know maybe like the evolution of your career and then tips that you have for moms.
Yes. Thank you, Jess, and I'm glad that you started the show for that
Thank
very
you.
reason because it should be something that you're so profoundly affected by, and now you
Mm,
wanna solve the problem.
mm,
That's any entrepreneur, anyone who's building anything, that should be their why. And that's how I started That's So a Mom Sense too. After I went from my television career where I was actually stationed in India for CNN, and it's funny how life comes full circle because I do feel very it's desi in my roots and my upbringing and covered the gamut of events from the 26/11 terror attacks to
oh, wow.
Slumdog Millionaires, Oscar wins. I was just in the middle of so many global news events. Then came back to the States, got married, 4 years later, had my twins, and then my third. I knew before that, I was like, I have to start reinventing what I'm gonna do with this
Mm,
broadcast master's degree, same thing, because television as a landscape is changing and dare I say, like dying out. It's not, the household names that we once had as television anchors. Now everyone can be reporting, you just post your video on TikTok and call it a day. And of course, there's credibility and integrity in journalism, but I thought
sure.
I need to be 10 steps ahead of the curve and change things up for myself. So I started a consulting firm. I did that for 8 or 9 years, and I had over 100 clients in my portfolio where I helped them
Oh,
build their
wow.
online footprint. Yeah, from logos to websites to video production. And I love that. And it got me really good at telling a story
Mm.
for
Mhm.
the digital realm. And that's so important if you are, a dentist or, one of the comedians I work with, Zarna Garg, and, building her entire social following from scratch, starting with her website where you buy tickets to her shows. So I got to really conceptualize all that. Then after I had the three kids in one full swoop, I had the twins. And then, when I was nursing, found out that I was pregnant with the third. So I was like, oh my goodness, this is happening back to back.
Mhm.
I want to just obviously take a pause, live in this because they were so young. And then it was in those moments of rest that you have the eureka like moments, And so I started listening to podcasts. I listened to Mom Brain, and I loved what Daphne Oz and Hilaria Baldwin were doing. And I said, I could do this. I've done long form interviews, and that too, like out on the field with like very little prep, with like a, political figure or a celebrity. I could totally do this, but I want it to be for parents, and I want it to be um, something that is tied to their own superpower. So I
Mm.
named it That's Total Mom Sense, because I'm not the expert and I'm not telling you how to raise your kids. I'm getting it wrong all the time myself. Let me just call that out. I think it was just me being a medium and saying, we all have this sixth sense, guys, and it's amazing. And that
Mhm.
is going to be your North Star through everything, every season of your life, especially parenting, and especially when it comes to relating to your kids, because you know them better than anyone else. And I want people to just trust that. So, I bring on these celebrities from, Chelsea Clinton to Kelly Rowland to Jenny Garth, and we hear from them in the most like rawest way, as you said. Parenting is just this common ground, and there is a level playing field. No one knows what they're doing. But when you hear the anecdotes and the stories and the life lessons and the legacy that we want to leave for this next generation, everyone has a different way of going about it. And
Mhm.
it's just so fascinating. So I launched That's Total Mom Sense in 2019, and it's been going strong for over 7 years. And it's just, yeah, it's amazing to be doing this. And now on to, when I pivoted, how I made it work. How did I make it make sense? I knew from day one that I needed to monetize this show.
Mhm.
And I think that, as busy moms, whatever you are choosing to do that's not your hobby, that's not that unicorn space I was talking about, but you're like, okay, this is going to be my new full-time gig. It needs to like have an ROI, which is for me, it's not just kind of filling my cup. It's like there's got to be some revenue. And so I knew that going in, and I started first monetizing through a platform called Podcorn,
Okay.
Podcorn. I think it
And, like,
still
I'm
exists, but
personally taking notes.
yes, yes, please do. And even if you're not in the podcast space, and let's say you have, a calendar making company or a beauty brand, or, are just a content creator, like you can apply all of this to whatever your line of work is. But yeah, Podcorn for the podcasters out there was my first foray. And I saw that they had a marketplace of brands. And even if you have a small niche audience and you're just starting out with like, under 1,000 subscribers, there is a place for you. So the brands will have a budget. And as an example, Sam Edelman, the shoe brand, they
Mm.
had like 25K spend. And it was like, okay, now you can pitch, speak to why they should air a host read ad or something like that on your show. And then you give them the demographics. I have this
Hmm.
many female listeners, 25 to 45, and they are your target market. And This is how long they listen for. And so, you kind of position yourself, and they wouldn't necessarily need to give you all their ad spend if you're a smaller brand, but they're splitting up that marketing budget. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we can give $1,000 here and 10 grand here. And then now you're making something. And it just builds from there because you grow the audience. And I think the other facet to, growing your business, your clientele, your portfolio is you have to be a master networker and super
Mm,
connected. I am inherently that as an extrovert, and I like leading because I think I've always kind of been on an island by myself. So any chance I get to galvanize people, I'm like, I'll take it. So I used to be the president of a chapter of BNI, Business Networking International. They have
mm,
chapters all over the world, but it's for small business owners. And as the president, I was basically emceeing our meetings,
mm,
being
mm-hmm,
the face, being the humor, getting people to mix around, network, and have business, close business go around. So that was like my first kind of step into it. And that was before I had kids. And I continued as BNI president for 6 years. And then only then, when the kids and COVID happened, I was
mm.
like, I'm going to step down, resign. But I
Sure.
still took all those skills, yeah, and was like, okay, this is something that has helped me grow, and we need to just apply that as moms. So you can be networking at the baseball field, at the,
Mm,
mommy and me classes, at the gym, and literally anywhere you go out, like shout from the rooftops what it is you do or what
mm,
it is you're building. So all of these people know and they're holding you accountable. And then also do it online so that your platform, it could be LinkedIn if you don't want to be on the social platforms. And if you are, kind of more open, then be all over Instagram and, TikTok, Facebook, all of that. So, and share your tips and tricks and whatever you're selling there. And you can do that within the bookends of your day. It just, that's the last component is time management.
mm,
And
mm-hmm.
I still do that. I had live-in help for a bit, and a nanny for a while, and a babysitters. But when my youngest turned 3 and joined daycare, and then later pre-K 4, kindergarten on up, that was it. I don't have regular household help anymore. And my husband was kind of like, the training wheels are off. And it's so much harder, I have to say, because you don't have anyone to like divvy it up with. But
Mm,
then you get resourceful with who you do have in your corner and the hands on deck. And, the kids are 9 now. So it's been a good 6 years that I've been working between the hours of 9 and 2. And when people see me on these stages with my power suit, they're like, "Oh my goodness, like such a glamorous life." It's like, no, no, you didn't see me at, like I said, Costco, not having showered the day before this
sure.
appearance. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I live a double life and it's fine. You know? The
I
people who
love
see me
that.
at drop off don't know the persona that I have when I'm, on stage. They're just like,
Mm-hmm.
wait a minute. Oh, I had a mom actually come to me recently and she found me on Instagram and she was like, "Is that you?" It's like, that's the same person. Yeah, I look different in the pickup line.
That's fantastic and so real. And I love those pieces of advice. I think it is so important. And I think honestly, a little bit easier for me becoming a mom to put myself out there. Like I told
Yeah.
myself, if I'm going to invest in the Mom 2 conference, I am going to talk to everybody I can because that's
Yep.
what I'm here for. And was I nervous? Sure. But it was also like, I'm leaving my kids. So if I'm going to go,
Yes.
I'm there, I'm doing it. And I
Squeeze
love
every bit of that. Yes.
yeah, and I love that you brought up also networking in places where you maybe it's unexpected, like at the baseball
Yeah.
field. That is such a good
Mhm.
point. Like you don't know what someone else does for a living or the interest that they might have. So I think that's also a great piece of advice. I love that.
Yes. And I have some more hacks and tips that have worked for our family over time. And I think the twin moms are really, really going to like this. So I mentioned Eve Rodsky's Fair Pay at the top of the show. That is really a movement that she's created. It's a book, but it's also a documentary film. And it was Jennifer Siebel Newsom, Senator Gavin Newsom's wife,
Mm.
is a
Mm-hmm.
very prolific documentary filmmaker and director, and so she directed it, and it's excellent. But it basically shadows 4 or 5 different couples and how they managed childbearing, especially during
Mm.
COVID.
Mm.
And it's just like, oh my goodness, that's when all the what was hitting the fan, and so it was like,
Yes.
yikes, this is. But how'd they do it? How'd they do it with maybe there are partners who couldn't work from home, so then they're out and only one person stuck with the kids all day, and so whatever it is, it shed light on all the various scenarios there. And what my biggest takeaway was, as the kids got older, the fair play doesn't have to be between, just the two partners. It is a family, like a
Mm.
family team sport. So as an example, this is our little chart that we keep. It has a log for when the kids empty the dishwasher, help me with the vacuuming, and who's in charge of putting the toilet paper and tissue boxes in all of the bathrooms. And it has the dates and who did it. And they
I
fill that
love
out.
the
And
organization.
yeah, and it's so simple. It was
Mm-hmm.
just a spreadsheet that we printed out. It wasn't a pretty printable or no. It's literally the chore or the task and then date and who did it. And then they see, because it's a cycle, who's next. So they can glance at it and realize, oh, it's my turn next. I have to do it. So that's executive functioning. We also have them doing their own laundry. And my husband, I have to thank him for this, was the one who got them to start this at age 5. So even though
Amazing.
I know. Even though they had small hands and, can't really fold, and that was my stickler because all of my drawers look like Marie Kondo. Everything is like very, very organized, and I would just redo all of their work. But it was important for us to teach them to do it. And we do have them folding in that way so that they see all their t-shirts in a row. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, folded into the little squares. And we have a big laundry party, if you will, on Sundays, where we run several loads, have a huge heap on our king size bed in our master, and then everyone throws whose is what to each person. Then we fold, then we put away. And it's just a fun game now. But then all the kids have to do it, and they got better at it. They got better at folding the socks and everything as they developed the fine motor skills, but
Sure.
it was great. So yeah, we have that. Another thing is because my husband is out of the house. So like when I mentioned, one parent at home with all the kids, that's me. And he has to go into work every day. And like, let's say if you have someone who's a physician, or has a 5-day a week mandate, they're just not there. And especially for the twin moms, when you're alone with 2 and more kids, it's nerve-wracking. You can go totally insane. It's just too much. But what my husband does is he prints out for me a write-up where it has the week of, and then each of the kids' names and what their schedule is.
Mm.
So, for example, Krish on Monday had travel baseball from 6 to 7:30. Tuesday, travel. It's at another place at 6. Wednesday, basketball clinic. Thursday, annual physical. All written here. Friday, free. Every kid, because they're going to have their different interests in sports and extracurriculars. So it
Sure.
becomes this smorgasbord that you're now managing, including your own calendar and your meetings and what you're up to. But he'll print that out, and the grandparents are here with us. so the grandparents can take some of the pickups and the drop-offs,
Mm.
or you can have a sitter, or, tie up with your neighbor, or, a mom friend from baseball to start a carpool. You got to just assemble the village however you can.
Yes.
And yeah, and even though he's not here doing any of the drop-offs and pickups, I'm not stickler about that. Like, you have to do 50%. No, he's not physically here. But every Sunday evening, this write-up for the week is on my laptop.
That's huge because it's almost like he took over a big portion of the mental load, which is
Yes. Yes.
huge. So then once that's like all written down, then you can kind of handle the logistics of it while he's not physically
Exactly.
present.
Yep.
I love this
And
system. I
yes,
love
and
it.
that's what it takes. And maybe it's flipped in your house, but whatever that looks like, make sure that each person is even playing into their strengths. Like, he loves doing charts and spreadsheets and things like that. And I actually like being out of the house. So I'm the one, with all of them in my minivan running around. So it works out. And then one
Mhm.
more hack I want to share is a book that a friend of mine wrote. Her name is Fran Hauser, and she wrote this recently, 20 Minutes is the New Hour.
Mm.
This book, it just recently came out, is a real game changer because it's for the highly ambitious woman who has a lot on her plate. And Fran has 2 kids. She used to be the president of Time Inc. Digital
Mm.
and wrote, this is like her 4th book, I want to
Oh,
say.
wow.
And yeah, and she goes on all these speaking engagements. And now she has a bookstore. It's called Bedford Books. And she's kind of taken like her hobbies and made them her main gig now, because she loves reading, and she just knew that she wanted to like have a place for, to cultivate that for her families. So she has that. But 20 Minutes is a New Hour is how to squeeze as much time as you can, because we don't have enough of it, and we can't
Mhm.
clone ourselves. So
Mhm.
you have to like, think about that. So something that I know in the early years I did, whenever I was pumping, I had my laptop on my lap and I was getting emails and things like that done while I was pumping. Like, have to.
Mhm.
Sometimes even phone calls, and I would just mute myself when they would hear they're like whirring, which was just hilarious. It was like, what is that? Oh, nothing.
Oh, that's
But now
hilarious.
they're like, yeah, so much more discreet. But yeah, there's that, or there's times where I get on a phone call with my team, or even a friend of mine who's like an accountability partner. I talk to her at the top of my day, right when I come home. And this
Mm.
is when I'm tidying up, loading the dishwasher, after breakfast, like making beds and just feeling like, my home's back in order. It's probably 25 minutes, but I'm doing a strategy call at the same time. And so
Mhm.
I didn't
Yeah.
feel like that whole tidying up was a time suck.
Mhm.
And then once I finally got to my desk, I was like, I'm so glad I rattled off my to-do list to my friend Anu, because now I know what I'm going to do.
Mhm. Yeah. I need to read that book.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh, it's so great.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's one thing I'm learning as a mom too. I had never heard the term habit stacking. And now I'm just
Mm,
like, oh, yes, like absolutely. I try to do the same thing. Like, I'm listening to a podcast when I'm loading the dishwasher, or, you know what I
yes,
mean? Like, you're trying to do multiple things at one time, not meaning that you're doing both things bad, but if you're doing something like folding laundry, you can definitely be doing something with your brain. So
yes,
is that a
yes.
call? Is that what is that? So I think that is such great advice. And I feel like what I'm hearing a lot from your tips is teamwork. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is so key. I think sometimes when you have very young children, it's almost impossible for you to imagine them helping one day. And
Right, right.
it's completely possible, and I think those little things start early. My daughter is not fully doing her laundry yet. She helps me fold it, but this is very motivating for me to help her in that direction to be able to do it fully, maybe with some guidance. And I think
Yep.
you brought up a great point is when you do start those chores early, that you might have to have slightly lower expectations. The fold might not
Yes,
be perfect, but it will get there.
exactly.
And I think that is so important. Like all those little things start early, and to teach your kids that when you're done with your plate, put it in the sink. And then eventually
Yep.
you'll have this whole chore system. This is giving me a lot of hope for what the
Yeah.
future of my household can look like. So that's
Yes.
really
Yes.
great
Yeah.
tips.
Thank you. And I mean, I myself didn't believe it. Like, I had to have my husband kind of just show me the light. And he was like, they can do this. You don't have
Yeah.
to feel like, oh my God, I'm going to put on a Netflix show and I'm sitting here for 2 hours folding and folding. Like, this is such a time suck. And he's like, it's like you said, not going to be perfect, but it's a life skill they have to learn anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
And it had so many pros. I was like, this is amazing. And now we're many years in and it's great. It's part of our routine.
Well, and what a way to make it fun. I love that it is
Yeah.
a full family activity. It is laundry party. I just
Yeah.
listened to your podcast with Dr. Kim, the parentologist.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yes.
and man, that was such a good episode. It's just about
Thank
parenting through
you.
play. And her sprinkler story actually made me cry.
I
It was so
know. I
sweet.
know.
So for listeners, she essentially talks about how one day she's on a walk, her kids want to play in the sprinklers. Her immediate thought is no. And then she goes, fine, go ahead. And then she joins them. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so sweet and such a good reminder to like not take yourself so seriously. So
Yes.
I love that you also turn so much laundry. A household of 5. I know it's a
Yeah.
lot of
You get it.
laundry. So to make
Yeah.
that fun and a family activity, I just really love that. So, and made me think of that episode.
Oh.
But
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. That's great.
yes. Well, my goodness, I feel like you have given so many amazing practical tips that twin moms can implement into busy life, managing career and motherhood. So I'm so thankful. So, like I said, I know you've just already given us so many tips, but my final question is always if you could have a heart to heart with a twin mom or give her a piece of advice, what would you tell her?
Oof. I would tell this lovely twin mom that you are a chosen one.
Hmm.
I truly believe that God gives you what you can handle.
Hmm.
And as much as we feel overwhelmed and bogged down, He chose you to handle too, and more, and then some if you have more. I remind myself that at times too, because there's, these limiting beliefs and this sense of like, why me? It's too much work. Like,
Hmm.
when are we going to get through this phase? And when you actually take stock of how we have double the joy, double the fun, double the laughs, it's beautiful. It's a double mint
Hmm.
commercial. It's beautiful. It's
Oh, that's cute.
so awesome. And how lucky are we? So just think of yourself as that. I was
Hmm.
chosen, and this is so special.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. And I love the positivity because I feel like sometimes in the twin world, it's like, there's a lot of negativity. So I feel like just
Yeah,
reminding moms that we can handle it. We were chosen. Oh, that makes me want to cry again.
I know.
So it's really good. It's a good reminder for moms to hear who are having a hard day or something that you were chosen and you can handle this. So I love
hmm
that.
It's a show
Yeah.
like yours and community like yours that you've built, Jess, that is another reminder that there are people who are in the exact same boat as you, and you are not alone.
Hmm. Hmm. Aw. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy twin mom plus one life
Yeah.
to come on and chat with me and give moms practical advice. So I so appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome, Jess, and keep growing and building. I'm here cheering you on, and I'm so happy to be part of your community too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy twin mom life to listen along. I hope this podcast shed some light on a topic that's been on your heart and gave you more confidence as a twin mama. If you know a twin mom, please send this her way. If you like what you heard today, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Check out the show notes to be connected with today's guest and get discount codes for brands I love. See you next Thursday. Until then, you were made for this.